be words long preserved for our walk in this world. They resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Words of life, words of hope, give us strength.
Good day, my dear brothers and sisters in Christ. I welcome you to this encounter, the 15th Sunday of the ordinary time of the year A. Today, the church presents to us the parable of the sower, Matthew chapter 13. And like we know, parables are both proverbs as well as riddles, from the Greek parabole, Mishal, the Hebrew. It means that beyond the possible explanations that may be given, it is also a riddle and a twist without a conclusion. It is an open-ended story, which leaves everyone with the possibility of drawing the story and the lesson therein. Today, in this parable, an explanation has been offered by what some call the explanation of Jesus as is written in the Bible, but some others suggesting that it was the apostles that added it as an explanation to people who are not very familiar with the parables. In any case, everyone is always free to draw the lesson from every particular parable because it is a twist and a riddle. And this is my own little reflection on this parable. And I invite each and every one of us to also draw one's lessons from this parable. God is a sower, a generous sower that doesn't differentiate, that is almost, we use the word, profligate with sowing, because he lets his light and his rain fall on both the good and the bad. That is why in today's parable, he did not just sow the seed in only good soil. He sowed the seed everywhere, along the road, in rocky soil, in thorny soil, everywhere, because he's that generous. And then, the scriptures in today's gospel already offered an explanation of today's gospel, explaining the soil as the receivers of the word and our different dispositions towards receiving the word. But I would want us to go further, to see this soil not just as different persons, but as every one of us, and our different responses at different occasions of our lives. Every now and then, we receive the word and let it bear fruit in us, like the fruitful soil. But then, at times also, we block this word, maybe by prejudice. Fruit injection says that the problem with the modern man is not that he sins more than the people of the old, but that in sinning, he denies the reality of sin. And this is what prejudice does to us. Because every now and then, let's take for an example, the sixth commandment. It is not only that we sin against the sixth commandment now, but most of the times we deny even the reality of sin. And we see that it is a normal thing, and there is no sin in it. Every now and then, instead of struggling with the weaknesses of our orientation and social orientation, we try to normalize even orientations against the norm and say that it doesn't matter, it's a way of being. Also, at times, we make an exaggerated recourse to occult compensation, thereby justifying our thefts and dishonesty. This can represent this seed that fell along the line and could not germinate because there was already a blockage from prejudice. And certainly, every now and then, because of problems and challenges and sufferings in the world tends to suffer in us, the word that we have received. It is a normal thing, but you shouldn't allow the problems of life to smother the word of God in us. We will not be able to be always 100% effective. Every now and then we are down. But this parable teaches us that even when we are down, we shouldn't be out. We should try to always pick ourselves up and not allow the word of God to die. And then every now and then, the problems of the world, so many pursuits, So many things distract our attention from focusing on God. And most of the times, I dare say that they are very important things. At times, things that make us relax. At times, even our academic life. At times, even our honest pursuit for money. But the problem is that in pursuing them, most of the times, we tend to put God at the background, and at times, even to remove God from the scene altogether. And this becomes an unfortunate situation, because even from an economic perspective, we have to make a proper scale of preference, a proper priority list. And at this point in time, what we choose over another thing and what we choose to forgo is the opportunity cost. In this sense, if we wake up in the morning and decide to dedicate the first 10 minutes to prayers and to reading the Word of God and to reflection, the opportunity cost would be maybe the phone we will leave off for 10 minutes. Or when we read, instead of reading 2 hours, 30 minutes as a stretch, we read 2 hours, 15 minutes for us to dedicate 15 minutes to the office of the hours. That's the opportunity cost. Or when we still have the phone, or still have the television in order to say the rosary, to cultivate and nourish this word in us, that's the opportunity cost. So the things of the word and the cares of the word should not smother the word in us, otherwise we become fruitless. And then, the word that bears fruit, the rendition reminds us something very, very important. And that is the truth that God has not called us to be successful, but to be fruitful. That is why some yielded fruits 30-fold, some 60-fold, some 100-fold. And this also recalls the parable of the talents. Where some were given 10, a person was given 10, a person was given 5, a person was given 2, another person was given 1. So God knows that our strengths vary. And it doesn't necessarily matter how much fruit we yield. The most important thing is that we are fruitful. We are meant to fly. But even if we cannot fly, then we should run. And even if we cannot run, then we walk briskly, or even walk slowly, or even crawl. But by all means, let's keep moving. God has called us to be fruitful, and in whichever way, let us try to realize that fruitfulness. There were great saints in the history of the church. St. Paul, first missionary journey, second missionary journey, all the letters. St. Francis, that when the length and breadth of the world preaching, even in the Islamic world. Padre Pio, with his schismata, with great manifestations. At the end of the day, what was the reward? Sainthood. There were also other men, simple men, even children. Remember the story of Santa Maria Goretti in the Nettuno, a small girl. Or even the story of Carola Acutis at Assisi. These people didn't do great things, but they were fruitful. And because they were fruitful, they eventually got the reward. And that is the sense of some producing 30 fruits, 60-fold, and then 100-fold. The most important thing is to keep producing fruit. At the end, it is also to us as preachers of the word, because this parable addresses us both as receivers and hearers of the word, and as preachers of the word. As the receivers of the word, it encourages us that not every time that will always give 100% fruitfulness. Every now and then, just like St. Paul, we are not able to do the good we are supposed to do, or we want to do. And even the bad we don't want to do, we see ourselves doing it. You don't have to give up. You have to pick up ourselves and keep trying. And as givers of the word, also as givers of the word, every now and then, after all our honest efforts, it is as if there is not much fruit, not much fruitfulness. Or we think that the fruit we see is not equivalent to the efforts we have put in and to the sowing we have made. What is important is that it is not every time that things will always go our way. If I take us back to the story we have all read, the story of things fall apart, we recall the story of Okonkwo. And I think it is in chapter 3 that they recall the story of Okonkwo and Wakibia. Because Okonkwo had a lazy father, an indolent father, he didn't have a head start in life like his peers. He didn't inherit anything from his father apart from debt. And in that particular chapter 3, he went and borrowed 400 seeds. He wanted to borrow 400 seedlings of yams for planting from a rich man called Wakibie. And that man, seeing his bravery and his industriousness, even gave him 800, and another person even gave him 400. But that particular year, a conspiracy of extreme drought on one side and then extreme downpour on the other side messed up his harvest. But at the end of the day, he continued with the little harvest he was able to yield. He continued, and before long, he became one of the most respected men, one of the richest men, one of the most titled men, even though he didn't have a good beginning. When we receive the word and we think that we are not producing as fruit as we think, let us not be discouraged. When we sow the word, when you do our work as ministers of the word, and we think that we are not receiving an equivalent harvest according to the efforts we have put in, let us not be discouraged. At the end, the good Lord is the Lord of the harvest. He has not called us to be successful, but to be fruitful. Let us give our best and trust in his promise. And like he says in the first reading, his word will not go back until it has realized its purpose for which it was sent. It may be difficult, like the second reading says, it may be difficult and comes with so much sufferings, both in receiving and sowing the word, and in giving a good testimony and a good witness. But at the end of the day, it is worth it. Because at the end, like the psalmist says, we will have an abundant harvest. May God bless all of you, and peace be with you.